6:35. So we're going to get started. And I know there were a lot of people who wanted to be here with us, and we told them we'd record it. So everyone here will have to represent everybody's questions. And I will keep an eye on social media in case we get more. And other ways it's open for people to come in late. Lately, you've probably seen within our Facebook group where we've been introducing everybody, but in case you haven't seen it, I want to introduce our guys to you. Now, Caleb is our designer, and this means that he designs the part that you see and the parts that you use. And his goal is to keep it as simple as possible. And he studies our competition, and he studies other websites, famous websites, popular websites, and he pulls from those experiences things that he feels makes it easier for people to use and navigate, which I think that's fabulous. Thank you, Caleb.
You're welcome.
So every single thing that you see and use has been drawn up to look and feel like Caleb feels it will be best. And then it's given to the developer, Matt. And Matt then takes those things and he puts the design plans that Caleb has given him and turns them into reality. I don't know how he does it. I think he has a magic wand, and I don't even know if that's okay to say, but I can tell you it feels like a magic wand. But he does. He brings it all to life. And so actually, none of this could happen without the two of them. It's sort of like two parts. If with one, it falls. And so we got our designer and our developer who make this whole thing happen for us. And I'm just going to break the ice real quick. And I'm going to start out by asking each one of them just a quick question. And then we can open up to questions. And I'm going to go ahead and start with our designer, Caleb. So I already told you what's important to him. What is it about your design work that you like the most? And then also, would you like to tell everyone what goes into that creative process and how the feedback really fits into it for you?
Sure. Thanks for the introduction. You make us sound amazing.
You are amazing.
The thing that I like the most is probably the experience that people get, is being able to create that, being a part of that. I've worked in a lot of other jobs or projects where you feel like you don't have control of that, and when you want to make something better for people. And so being in a position where you feel like you have the opportunity and the responsibility really to make something better for people is what I like the most. I don't like people to struggle, so whenever I feel that happens, it usually hurts my feelings. So then I have to go recover and then figure out what to do. Ultimately you want people to be confident and enjoy what they're using. And so I like it when that happens, because you want people to be able to focus more on the stuff they want to do and less on what they want to accomplish, and less on just how to do it. So yeah, good question. I think I answered that. And then you want to know the creative process. Should I go right into that, or
yes, I would
do you have
love
any
that.
follow-up? Well, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it depending on the project. When you first start out a project, or if you're focused on a particular part of a project. But usually you start with trying to first define things as best you can, defining the problem or the goal. So that way, hopefully things fit into that. And it's not always perfect, but you try your best to do that, so that way you have more of a singular purpose in what you're trying to accomplish and what the user will then um, experience. So it's clear for them. But at any rate, after defining things, you gather a lot of information. Um, these steps can be important for later on in the process because you have a better perspective of what is available and what people are experiencing. So if you know, for example, the tools that somebody is using related to that feature. So like we recently working on the import contacts feature, excuse me, feature. And so I spent a lot of time with gathering information about the virtual office and exactly what users experience in their virtual office, because they're going to be doing that right before they come in to use Essenty when they upload their file. So for me, the ultimate goal would be that that process between the two is very easy. So once you gather information, then you start putting stuff down. You start putting down your ideas on how things fit together. You might test it a little bit and things like that, and then eventually get to mocking it up. Mock-ups in the creative process then would be something more formal. So as opposed to like just drawing it, um, it would be done in a program that looks almost pretty much identical to what the code or the app would look like, the system would look like on a computer, or your phone or whatever. And then you can even prototype that and test it, and you can interact with it. Sometimes you go through more steps in some process and some features than others. And so, but you do have that option to even prototype that and test that. And then it goes to code. And then once it's coded up, then we start to get feedback from real users and our team. And then after that, then any revisions go together before pushing it out. Now, the thing that's really helpful with users getting into something when you're designing it is then you get that raw feedback right away. And that I find is really valuable, because first time people use something will really affect how they interact with that in the future, and their confidence in being able to use it. And so I always hope that we can provide something that people want to keep using. And if we don't get it right the first time, we eventually will. You know, we're committed to making sure that we deliver a good product. So,
And would you say that their feedback helps in that process? Like I feel like it probably helps you tremendously.
absolutely. What's really helpful is we spend so much time role playing what it's like for a user. So much of my time I pretend I'm a user, and it probably a reason why I like doing what I do. I mean, there's probably a connection because I did a lot of drama when I was really young, and you had to play a role. And so part of, I feel like, doing your job, what I do, is being that person. But when you have real feedback from users, it's like you get to actually interview the real person that you're playing. And their feedback is better than anything you can imagine, because that's all that matters, is the people that are ultimately using your product. So like, we've the feedback we have gotten has helped tremendously, because it just helps confirm or certain things that we maybe have been thinking about, or things that we need to prioritize more, or um, um, even simple things like words that are used, because we may refer to something in one way, but we're not maybe in the same sphere of uh, of influence in how we refer to something. So that even helps, like what you might call one of your contacts, or how you might just refer to things like that, just as helpful in an interface that people interact with.
Fantastic. I understood most of what you said, and I really appreciate you letting everybody know what goes into it and how the feedback helps them, and how you think when you're going through the process on that. All right, Matt, developer who takes these things from Caleb and then magic wand waves and it happens. Matt, we want to know from you, what do you like best about what you do for the Essenty platform? And then the second part of the question is, drum roll please, we would love it if you could speak to everyone just briefly regarding the development plans and the progress that has been made so far on the marketing platform.
Sounds good. Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you. I don't know that I can make development sound nearly as interesting as Caleb makes design sound. You're a lot more tangible, and it sounds a lot more fun than development. Magic Wand may be the best way to describe what happens behind the scenes once we put designs to code, because ultimately it needs to be turned into a very long string of text that makes that website appear on screen. But it is something I really enjoy. You know, I grew up playing with Legos, like a lot of kids in the 80s.
Lego.
We're still
Lego.
I know, it's Lego. Fun fact, Lego is actually plural. Don't add an S to it. We learned this watching the Lego Masters competition show this spring. It's on Fox. A lot of fun. Watched it with our kids. And each week they had a challenge to build some Lego creation, and it had to be like the tallest skyscraper or the strongest bridge or things like this. And it was really fascinating. It was about 9 weeks long or something like that. So it was fun to see people that are my age, all growing up, having grown up with Lego, now still enjoying it and making creations. And I'm doing that with my kids now. As part of that, we learned that Lego is the plural word. There is no S. At any rate, you know, putting together Lego is kind of, it's putting together a puzzle. And that's ultimately what development is for a website. It's putting together a puzzle. There's of course the first challenge of solving that user experience that Caleb talked about, which is, what is the right interaction to go from point A to point B, to get that blog post from in your mind to on screen and published. But then that entire process needs to be made into an actual functional application. And so there's a lot of moving parts that goes into that. A lot of times I am jealous of maybe some other websites like maybe Twitter or Wikipedia, which is Twitter's, you type up a 300 character message and you post it, and then people click a button and they like it, right? And I wish Essenty was that simple, but it's not. There's a lot of moving parts with creating your own website and having your own custom profile and being able to customize a lot of things within that site, and publishing blog posts. And now we have the product guide that's live on the site, and very soon we'll have our contact manager and an email platform and a text messaging platform, and lots of components involved, and lots of very large and lots of daily, very small puzzles to solve. And so, you know, it's ultimately, in a similar vein to what Caleb said, solving those small puzzles to make something that is actually very complex and making it seem seamless and very simple, and ideally invisible to you as the user. To have that complexity be invisible and not noticed is my ultimate goal, and something I get a lot of joy out of.
Wow.
Speaking to just kind of the game plan for Essenty in 2020, kind of referenced the the progress that we've made over the last few months, and we're really excited about that product guide. I hope it's been helpful for you guys. I hope that it has been a helpful way to share products and post with folks in your sphere of influence. We have been hard at work, of course, on the next phase of Essenty, which is that marketing platform. And it is going to touch three things. It's going to have a contact manager built in. It will give you the ability to send email marketing campaigns to your customers and prospects, as well as text messaging campaigns to your customers and prospects. And we've made a lot of progress. Our contact manager is 99.5% done. We've been spending the last couple of weeks doing some refinements to it. You know, contact managers are a dime a dozen. I'm sure you've all interacted with them, whether it's through an email platform like Gmail or Yahoo, or maybe you've used another platform to manage contacts before, or even your phone is a contact manager. And so there's certainly a lot to learn from the various contact managers that are out there, and a lot that can be improved upon. And for us, you know, when we look at other small business marketing platforms that are out there, we've touched and we've experienced a lot of them. And as we built this contact manager, we've been looking for ways to make the process and the experience of loading your contacts, viewing your contacts, managing them, filtering them, getting down to essential information so that you can take action and engage with people, because that's ultimately what it's about, helping you engage easier with your contacts. We spent a lot of time trying to refine that, and we will continue to refine it. It's not perfect yet, and that's one of the joys of software, is that it's a continual growing and developing process that will continue to refine. So we're very close on Contact Manager that will release in the very, very near future, days away at this point. As we move into midsummer here, email marketing and text messaging is something I know is pressing on everyone's minds. It's something that you guys have been looking forward to for a long, long time, and we appreciate your patience as we've built this application literally from the ground up over the last 9 months or so. There's been a lot of groundwork and foundation that's been laid already on that. We were just discussing today, how can we accelerate a path to releasing those marketing features. And at the moment, we're looking at releasing what we call, and just kind of some terminology we throw around, is a minimum viable product. What is kind of the least complicated, easiest path to releasing something that's functional and helpful for you guys? And so we're aiming to release a kind of a bare bones email marketing platform for you within the next, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks. That's a stretch goal for us, but we're going to push hard on it and try to get something out there with text messaging to follow pretty closely behind. So there will be a lot happening this summer. We appreciate your grace and your patience with us as we've been hard at work putting these features together over the last several months. We don't want to release things that are going to cause anxiety or angst or more confusion. So just know that any time that is spent delaying things throughout our development process is really ironing out issues and bugs to reduce complexity for you and give you an experience that is a good foundation for you and something you can rely on. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, well put. I'm so glad you said it and not me.
Thanks, Matt.
I actually thought of a question while you were talking, but
then I droned on for so long that you forgot it.
no, actually, no, no. But I would like to also mention that there are going to be some sneak peeks of things, because when Caleb discussed the fact that when he puts the mock-up together, we can't really tell that it's not really live somewhere. It looks live, it looks real, and we can interact with it sometimes. And he's going to provide sneak peeks of things a little at a time, from what I understand. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to make sure that Matt or Caleb don't have anything else immediately. And if not, I'll open up to questions. Matt, do you have anything else before I open to questions?
I'm anxious to hear from folks.
Okay. Caleb, did hearing from Matt bring anything else to mind, or should we go ahead and answer questions?
Well, it's hard. What it does bring to mind, and I think it's hard to get when someone is talking about coding and things like that. But just so you guys know, you have someone who really does care about the customer, about the individual users that we have. And it's not like, sometimes there's issues with things actually being what they say and secure as they are, or capable of what they say they're going to do. That's something that we always know when we work with Matt, as far as coding, that he's delivering something that is reliable. And we've experienced a lot of things in past software things that weren't reliable. And he takes it very seriously and personally. And I think that's something you don't always get always. So just throwing that out.
So
Well, thanks for saying that.
Yeah. Really glad.
I think something that's helpful for all of us is that, Caleb and I have been building software together for several years now. And we always have sought out to solve some of our own problems. And we believe that oftentimes solutions come from solving your own problems. Something we have been pretty diligent about is that as much as possible, we build the Essenty platform to solve our own needs as managers of the Essenty platform on your behalf. And so when we need to make updates to a customer's account or a profile, we're using Essenty to do that. When we need to send an email marketing campaign to you to update you on something, we're using that platform. When we release text messaging, we will send text messages to you through the Essenty platform. So we as much as possible are not outsourcing our own services that we ourselves provide. We're building something that we ourselves can rely on, and putting our own stamp of approval on it, hoping that carries over as a level of trust for you guys, knowing that we're using this to connect with you, our customers, and so you can trust it to connect with your own customers.
Wow. Absolutely well said. So yes, we are a team that are very passionate about the end user, meaning you guys. And with that, I am going to go ahead and open it up for questions. Where there's not so many people here that you can't just start, but if you want to and you know how to raise your hand, you can do that. I see there's a chat question. And if you want to put it in chat, I'm monitoring those things. To raise your hand, just look at the bottom of your screen and click on reactions. You can do it that way, but make sure that you've unmuted yourself. And if I have to show my mug, I think you have to show yours too, but
Ooh.
Slide.
Hey, I see Jerry's got her finger up. There now all 5 fingers.
She is raising her hand.
I have
We'll
5
call
or
that
6.
a full hand raise.
Full hand.
In the process of building out the email and the text messaging portion, will they include graphics that we can add to those texts for campaigns that we either send by text or emails?
Who's going to take this?
I'll take a stab. You guys fill in as needed beyond that. Both the email marketing and the text messaging platform is going to be an evolving feature. we want to get something out quickly for you guys. And so to start with, I kind of referenced that we're going to be releasing a pretty bare bones stripped down email editor for you to use at the start. Through it, you'll be able to send text-based email campaigns to your users, to your customers, whether that's 5 people or 50 people or 5,000 people. You'll be capable of sending those campaigns to those customers, but text only to begin with. And we're going to very quickly throughout the rest of the summer and the fall iterate on that email marketing platform. Images will be added. Soon after that will be the ability to schedule out series of emails where you might start a campaign that consists of 7 email messages, and that gets staggered out to your list of recipients over the course of a couple months. So we're going to call those series, and also provide you with pre-written content, whether that's in the form of text or graphics that you can easily add to those campaigns within the campaign builder. Those are all elements that will be added, and they're not all going to be released right at the beginning, but I believe once the foundation is laid and we have the mechanism for you to be able to send messages, that we're going to be able to provide some of those more advanced features relatively quickly over the next few months.
And when we are able to do those drip campaigns, is what I call them. I don't know what we'll be calling them. Are those, as we prepare our own drip campaigns, what type of platforms should we build them in on our own to be able to then easily slide them into so that they're stored, so to speak, on our on the websites or in our back offices?
Well, we'll be providing you with an editor to build all those campaigns yourself within Essenty. And so you'll be able to
sort of like what's in FISBE?
Exactly, but better.
Okay. That gives me like FISBE, so, okay. So, but in the meantime, if we have an idea of one that we want to do for our particular team, should we go in and build it in FISBE? And then can it be slid to Essenty once Essenty takes over the email campaign?
Yeah, I am, in terms of development priorities, transferring content from FISBE to Essenty is not at the top of our list.
Right.
We would rather get the experience and the interface correct in Essenty so that those things can be built in and live there. I mean, not to get too technical, but the structure of what an email looks like on the FISBE side is going to be quite a bit different from the Essenty side. That's a database thing. That's simply a technological way of looking at it. But it's not necessarily what I'm trying to get at, is that it's not a one-to-one. I've got an email here in FISBE, it easily transfers over. It's going to be quite a bit different, and the reason it's quite a bit different is it's going to be more feature-rich and allow you to do more things with those emails than you're able to do in FISBE. FISBE is pretty restricted and relatively clunky compared to where it needs to be in 2020.
Can I interject something here?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you mean this or not, Jerry. I don't know if you are also referring to perhaps the send times and delays between the drip campaigns, or if you're just referring to the content in each individual email.
Both.
Okay.
Mainly the content.
Yeah, I think it's something to something we should take under consideration. I don't have a good sense at the moment how many people that are Essenty users are actively using FISBE to send out, whether it's newsletters to their customers or it's these drip campaigns or series type campaigns that you're referencing, Jerry. If there is if there is a good number of people doing that and there's a need to get that content over, that could be a feature we look at providing, a way to transfer it. But again, I think just us as a Essenty team are going to have to take a hard look at what it would take to build that feature out.
I got you. Anybody else that has questions, jump in, because I've made a list of a lot of questions that I have, and I don't want to hog the time if somebody else wants to slide one in before Michelle cuts us off at the knees. When the text messaging comes, Michelle has said in the past that we will be able to pick our own phone numbers. Is there a way that you can give us some clues as to what we're thinking? I've already been thinking about the numbers that I want that match my name to make it easier for people to know what that phone number is.
Yeah, that's a fun
some
topic.
Good questions.
I've been thinking about this for a while now.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, you know, choosing your text messaging phone number is kind of like choosing your email address to send something from. So, yes, when you begin text messaging through Essenty, the first thing you'll do is select a phone number that we have available through our text messaging providers. You cannot use your current cell phone number. You would have to drop your cell service in order to do that. So you will not be using your own personal cell phone number that you have currently today. You'll be getting a new number that will be solely used for your business text messaging purposes.
Okay.
Yet to be determined exactly what that process would look like, but it would be something along the lines of, I would like to choose a number in the area code ... 123 507 615, right? And that would return to you a list of maybe 5 to 10 numbers that you could choose from. And if you don't like any of those 10, then you could cycle through to the next 10 and the next 10. Now, we don't have any specific control over what numbers are available. We will be providing those numbers through the carrier network that we will be sending our text messages through. So they have a list of millions and millions of numbers. And so when you go about the process of looking for your number, you'll start by putting in a couple parameters, area code being the primary one, and see if you can narrow it down to something you like.
Okay.
Okay, so just interjecting here very quickly, would it be safe to say that with the new editor for the email campaigns, drip series, we do call it a series, drip email, that she could copy and paste her emails over as an alternative? Like, it would be fairly easy to copy paste with what you believe will be the mock-up.
You bet. Yeah, have two tabs open on your web browser. Bisbee's open in one screen and Essenty's on the other, and just copy and paste from one screen to the next.
Okay, so I want to go ahead, if you don't mind, and see. I have a
Is that
question.
a question? Would that also apply to images, though, Matt?
Images you'd likely need to re-upload.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
Yeah,
might
so
have
if
to
you're using-
re-upload images. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Sherry asks us if the contact manager is still evolving. Specifically, will we be able to mass import contacts from the virtual office to Essenty? And I believe that either one of you may.
Yes.
I've been talking a lot, so I'll let Caleb chat for a bit.
Okay,
The answer is yes.
that is
Absolutely. In fact, you're just gonna click export. You're gonna click on the columns that you want, well, and the ones that we're tracking in Essenty, and that file you will be able to upload without any modifications. You can
And you
add.
give us those columns ahead of time so we know like what's not in
Absolutely.
our virtual office, we can put in that format in that same order?
We're going to make it so easy that you won't even have to think about that.
Okay.
No, what it is you're going to check the boxes for the columns that we're tracking, which will be shown in the interface, which include like name, number, sign up date, activation date, account status, account type, enroller number, has essential rewards, doesn't have. So all these things that will show you exactly what to check that will accept. That file will go onto your desktop. You take that file without even touching it and upload it to Essenty, and it will automatically recognize the headers in that file and match it up to contact fields in Essenty.
And they'll be in the same order that they show up on our virtual office so that we don't have to click 1, 2, 3, 7, 10, 14, 4.
You will not have to rearrange the order of that file. So
That file,
regardless of what order those columns come through and in that export from the virtual office, Essenty will take it and process it appropriately.
Now, if we have prospects that are not in our virtual office, we can still use the columns in the order you give them to us, so that, in other words, a prospect's not going to have an enroller number or a sponsor number or a member number, or a lot of those it'll just have a name, address, phone number.
yes. So
And it'll just pick
if
them
you
up
want to,
automatically.
you can, so if you open that file you get from your virtual office and you want to add more information to it, you can. So each column will have a header column name in it. So one of them will be name. You could add in the name, and then where it says type, instead of, or on yours it will say customer type, instead of member, retail, or professional, you would insert lead. Or you can do it, or you can add them manually, one at a time, or do a separate file of just all your leads. Depends on how you want to do it, but you can fill it in on the table, and then when you import it, it organizes it according to the column header name, and then you can match it up. And if it doesn't recognize it for some reason, which would only be if it's not named according to how the virtual office exported it or how we outline it, then you will see it, and it shows a preview in the interface of what the data is and where it's going to match in Essenty.
Okay.
Good. So the second part. Oops, sorry.
I would love to speak to kind of the evolving part of that question, and how we're going to be growing the Contact Manager, even within the context of the month of July. So we're going to be releasing the Contact Manager very soon. We know that simply a place to store names and email addresses isn't that useful. And so something I'm really excited about is that we're pairing the release of the Contact Manager with the ability to accept comments on your website for your blog posts and even product posts that are included on your personal Essenty marketing site. What that's going to do is give your customers, your prospects, the ability to interact with you and engage with you on your website in a way that you haven't been able to before. So if you've written a personal blog post, or even our pre-written posts that have been published on your behalf on your site, you will have the option to accept comments on your site from customers.
Right.
And they will appear in your back office. You'll have the ability to moderate them, interact with them, approve them, deny them, whatever they may be. But a cool component about that is that we are also capturing that contact's information, whether it's email address and or phone number, and automatically adding it to your Contact Manager then as they make that comment. So that is going to be the initial component of our Contact Manager release, is pairing it with adding the ability to accept comments on your website. The ability to do bulk imports will be closely followed. That whole experience that Caleb was just describing within a couple weeks after that, leading up to, of course, our release of email marketing in the very near future, which is what you ultimately need, the ability to load people in bulk for, so that you can send those campaigns out.
A lot of times people are commenting on my website, but I never see that comment on my website. I have to be in Facebook and realize it's gone to my business Facebook page before I ever see that they've commented. So I don't have the ability to have a chat, like to interact with them while they're on my website and asking questions. They automatically get something that says, I'll be with you later. But the first time that I got one, it took me weeks to find it. I saw it pop up, but I couldn't click on it fast enough to actually interact with them then, and then I didn't know where it went. Is there a way that we're able to chat with them and it sort of stays there a little bit longer?
So I won't go so far to say that you'll be able to chat with them, but we're building in a few things that will alert you to the fact that you have a new comment on your website. First of all,
Right.
When a comment comes through, we'll immediately send you an email and let you know that you have a new comment on your website. We'll give you that comment in the email so you can actually read what was written. And we should be able to give you the email address. So if you wanted to just type a reply email right then and there to that customer, from that email notification that comes in, you ought to be able to do that. Secondly, we'll give you a link directly to your back office so you can see where that comment lives and resides inside your back office. There you'll be able to moderate it, and by moderate I mean mark it as approved, or mark it as a comment that you don't, as deleted, a comment that you don't want to have on your site, so you'll have control over that. Within the back office itself, I know not everybody spends 24 hours a day on their Essenty back office like Michelle, Caleb, and I do, but if you are in your Essenty back office and a comment comes in, you'll immediately get a notification within the back office. It'll pop up in the screen. You'll see a little flashing icon, and so we'll alert you within the application itself that you have a new comment coming in.
Okay.
I think, we can, I don't want to promise things that may or may not happen, but, we're going to be adding text messaging in the near future as well. So perhaps even the ability to opt into text notifications when you have a new comment come in.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Offer as well.
That'd be super. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come back over here to the chat. There is a field to add their birthday to the contact manager, as well as little alerts when the birthdays are coming up. I did see that in there. Sherry is saying that she wasn't sure she saw it, so I just want to verify that it is in there, right? In the contact manager.
Yep, we're providing a birthday field. We're also providing you some easy ways to filter by upcoming birthdays. So you can go to your contacts page, click a pre-filtered view, and see upcoming birthdays. And they'll be sorted top down. These are your soonest occurring birthdays within the next month or so.
Okay, good. And Sherry, I think that you're a beta tester. I want to go one more step for you in your beta tester users group. Ask that question and you can get help because you're testing it. And I'm going to come then over to the question that comes from an additional question from Sherry. Is she wants to make sure that at some point, or at what point, we will offer CRM, bringing your contacts and information from another CRM. I'm assuming she means the notes and the data that's in there. And I believe if you may have already answered this because you said you'll be able to import other spreadsheets.
Yeah, the bulk import feature that we're working on will give you the ability to upload a CSV file. A CSV file is basically a version of Excel. If you have Excel, or if you have the numbers application on a Mac, saving those files as a CSV file is very simple. So you'll be able to upload a CSV file, and CSV files are something that you can export from Gmail, from pretty much any other contact manager that you use, other email providers, and I'll need to go back and look, but I think we even offer that in FISB. I think you can export your contacts that way, and it should pop out as a CSV file. So if you've got contacts in FISB, you should be able to upload a form of that file to Essenty as well.
Will it merge duplicates?
You have the option when you do your upload to either ignore duplicates or update duplicates. So if you have an email address that's already in there, and your new file has that same email address, you can say, I want to use the information from my file and update what's already in Essenty, or I want to ignore those duplicates in my file and only add new ones.
Okay.
But we can't merge them. In other words, it'd be two Sally Smiths with different information, like a home email versus a business email that was in one versus the other one.
So we will only be allowing a single email address to be used once in your account. So a duplicate email address could not exist. So you might end up with Sally Smith with a phone number and then Sally Smith with an email address, and you've got two contacts and you want to merge them together, which is what I think you're trying to get at. It's not a feature that we have on the immediate game plan. It's certainly something that we've thought about, and I can see it happening, but it's not something that's going to be in the next couple of months.
Right. But like, for instance, I have several Sandy Smiths. And so they're all going to have a different email address and phone numbers. But then sometimes Gmail will pick one up with my Oil Gushers Gmail, and sometimes with my Young Living email, there'll be duplicated ones with a little bit of different information on each one of them. I've been trying to go through my phone and eliminating everything that's not an iCloud address so that they're all in one thing, but I'll have 3 or 4 contacts for Sandy Smith that some of them are the same ones and some of them are different. I guess I'll just have to do those by hand when they get in there. I'm trying to.
I just thought of, I remember, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jerry, it sounds like what you're trying to do is you're trying to clean up your contact list. And so probably before you do your bulk import and you get all that export and you have them on one file, if you just sort by a column and you see any duplicates of any email or phone or anything, you could just clean it up right there. So your file that you import will be as you'd like it.
Okay, so cleaning it up on the Excel spreadsheet before we bulk upload it.
Well, then you're going to know for sure what you're going to get, because if you sort it and you see you have Sally Smith with 3 different entries, then just the one that has the stuff that's missing, put it in the right row, and then delete the other rows.
Okay.
And I think that answers Frances Jackson's question as well when she said, can we edit what's imported from Virtual Office, since some people have first name first, others have last name.
Yes. And
So
I talked
with
them about that. That's, yeah.
So you can look at your columns and you can edit them. I know I've done hundreds, thousands before, just read down the column and fix those that are messed up. And also, Francis wants to know, can we sort by legs or location from the Virtual Office? Now, I'm going to ask her to possibly clarify this if you can. But do you mean once it's in the Essenty contacts system, are you able to sort it by location and or legs? Is that what you're asking, Francis? And I know you're muted. You want me to try to unmute you? Oh,
yes. That's okay. Sorry. What I mean is sometimes I only want to send to, say, the leg here that's in the Houston Pearland area, and not send to my team that's in New Mexico and Dallas and such. That I've been doing texts like that, and so I'm wondering if we have the ability to basically like build a group.
how would
Take
you?
it, Caleb.
Yeah, take it.
Yes.
Caleb.
Yes. The answer is yes. Everything you
Yay!
want.
Hey.
Be like Trump. You can do anything. It's gonna be huge. No. So you will be able to, in your import, you're going to import address. On your contact manager, you can add and remove any columns you want, sort by those columns. And then what you could easily do is just click on the ones that you want to create a group with, and you add a tag, give a tag to that, and you can pull those up at any time. Now you could also, what you could do, which I would maybe recommend is if you do specific campaigns for those regions, they have to be on a list. That's how campaigns work, is they have to subscribe to a list. So those could all be on a specific list that you create for that region if that content is specific for that group. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So that's one way it could be on that specific list for, say, Houston area text list.
Got it.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes, thank
So we
you.
could make a separate list for Tom, Dick, and Harry's legs and 3 separate lists. And so anytime we wanted to do all Tom, Dick, and Harry, but if we wanted to do Tom in Pearland, we can sort it that way as well and send a campaign or a contest to just Tom's list in Pearland.
Yes, there'll be multiple options, that many ways to be able to do it. So the list will be, you have to subscribe to a list. So you need to know anytime you invite someone to that list, they're going to have to subscribe to it. Or you can have also a few large lists, and then you can send campaigns to a group within that list, and you can filter for that group and just send to that group. So there's a couple different ways you can do it depending on what your goal is.
And you
So
can
every time you want to send something to Tom's list in Pearland, you have to ask them every single time you're going to put them in a different campaign?
No.
Okay.
No, once they subscribe, so let's say you have a specific, I don't know what the topic would be, but say you give a name to that list. And usually when you list, what you want is to have it, make sure you explain what it's for, and then stick to that topic as closely as you can. That will prevent people from unsubscribing.
It changes every month.
and
No, I don't mean specific product or top, like say it's a newsletter list, that would be in my newsletter list. Okay.
That was my question, was once you get these people in, are they going to have to opt in to receive the email?
Yes. They will receive, whether it's email or texting, they will receive an invite once that feature is released. They have to opt in to receive marketing campaigns.
Correct.
However, I do want to interject here so there's no confusion. You are also able to sort all your contacts by various ways to where you have at the end only those people in this region or in this leg or in whatever thing by tagging. And tagging would be like everybody in Houston is tagged Houston. And then you can send all of them an email or all of them a text. And they aren't on a drip series. I think we understand the difference between a list means a drip series of some sort, and just communication, you can do it in a different fashion. Now, am I right about that, guys? They could communicate with
Almost.
sort out all of their contacts and send them all information without being a drip, without it being something that they're continuing to get.
Yes. So you would just you can create as many lists as you want, but you can just have your general downline list that people subscribe to, and you can use it whenever you want and send people an email or a text message if they've subscribed to that list.
Yeah, I think the key thing to point out is that, let's say you've got one master list of all your subscribers, and you might at the beginning of the month send a newsletter to everybody that's subscribed to that list, all 100 or 200 people. But at any point, you could go into that list and filter it down and say, I want to only contact people that are tagged with this tag, who have a birthday coming up in the next 10 days and send a one-off message to just that filtered group of people within that list. And so there's going to be multiple ways for you to filter and look at all those people that are subscribed to that one list, and only send to segments of them if you want to.
Okay, and then those.
Thank you.
people who
That's
have-
clear for me. What I was really concerned about was, as she mentioned about, we start with a master list before we.
I'm not hearing her. Did my internet drop? My internet might have dropped.
We will allow you to do it in bulk, within the system. So
Okay, that's sweet. Thank
won't be
you.
an issue. Text to. That's like what you call broadcast. It just goes out. And then if let's say you create a series, a specific series for a class that goes on a specific schedule, it's automated, what someone referred to as a drip campaign, right? So that is something that is called a separate subscription list because it's on a schedule that people subscribe to and get that specific topic, that
Got it.
specific series that you've created. So it might be 30 emails, right? You never have to touch it. They say, yes, I want to get these email series on all my DIY recipes or something. They would just go through that and it would track that individually. That also allows you to see the importance of that is because it allows you to see the analytics for specific lists and campaigns. That won't be a part of the MVP, but eventually you'll be able to granularly be able to see even the results in very useful ways. So you know what is working and what isn't working.
Okay, so my internet dropped. Thankfully, the whole group didn't drop. We are moving into the hard deadline, but I know there were messages in the chat box and they're gone because I dropped and had to come back in. One of them was from Cynthia, who asked if there was going to be an extra fee for email and for texting, and I'm assuming she's part of the Grow With Us because that's all we offer now. And because we're charged an extra fee to send texts, we do have to work out what that's going to be for texting. And we want to actually make it better than anywhere. So I can go ahead and say that, but it is all included with your Grow With Us as far as my email marketing and text platform. And then the fine tuning of that will be coming as it develops out and as we move out of the Grow With Us. And if you had a question that I didn't get to and you really need it answered, speak up now because they're all gone off of this. Wait, before you do that, you know me, I'm so disjointed. Would you guys like to tell quickly what's the best way for a person to ask you for features or for capabilities to where it gets on some of the radar lists? Like, in other words, I saw Rich asked a question about something called Aroma Freedom. I'm not going to go too deep in that. And then I know several people have been asking about funnels, marketing funnel systems. How is the best way that everybody who wants to ask about adding something or suggesting something be part of the system reach you guys so that it gets consideration?
Yes, there is a big help button in your back office. You click that button, click contact us, and on that form, you actually click, I think there's one for feedback or suggestions or something like that. That goes directly to Heather, and she puts it right in front of our faces. So
Literally, it goes on a list, and some people have seen their dreams come true from that list already.
I want to go back and just make sure so we have as much clarity as possible about the question about pricing. Matt, do you want to speak into that at all? Just make sure there's
Well,
some
yeah,
clarity in that.
sure. I would say two things, and with the caveat that we are continually working that out over the next several weeks as we prepare to release these features. So the pricing details will be ironed out and published as we continue to discuss that. But two things. Yes, you're on the Grow With Us plan. So the feature, as in the capability of sending emails and of sending texts, will be included with the product. Okay. However, there is a component of cost for sending text messages and sending emails that we need to address as well as a company. And so we may need to figure out some sort of credits system where you might be allotted a certain number of messaging credits or marketing credits per month, with the ability to purchase additional credits at any time if you need more to send more messages. Again, all details we need to work out, but like Michelle said, the capability to send these messages will be included in your product. But we're going to have to publicize and clarify what the pricing for sending messages is going to be for everybody, and that might be a certain number included in your monthly fee, and then you can buy more, something along those lines.
For example, because you're going to have people that might be able to send 5 and some that are going to send 500 or 5,000. We have to pay for every one of those messages that are sent. So that has to be worked out.
Right. And that is part of this development is, yeah, because 5,000 is definitely more than 10 or 5. So we have reached the cutoff a little past. So I hope Jerry's proud of me. If anyone has a pressing question, it has to go right now. I'll let you ask. And if not, I have recorded this and I will try to do my best to get it up probably Sunday or Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and let Matt and Caleb say goodnight.
Yeah. Thanks, Essenty folks. We appreciate seeing all your faces, and thanks for engaging with us. Always nice to chat with the folks that are using the platform. So appreciate you being here, and nice to meet you all.
Yes, so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for all you're doing. It is just wonderful.
Thanks, everybody. It's very helpful.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
this a lot.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Shirley, for showing
Good.
up. Good night, everybody.